tonight's program is going to be an excellent program. Larry Adebesson is my guest tonight. He's going to talk about helping you get out of debt. Larry, are you on the line with me yet?
I am on the line with you, sire.
All right, awesome. Welcome to the program. Do we let's get a mic check, Larry. What do you say you go through a testing 1 2 1 2 1 2?
1 2 1 2 1 2. How do I sound?
How about it, folks? Can everybody hear Larry? Okay, nobody's typing quickly. Yay, somebody did. All right, had that little blank stare. Thanks, Claire. Thanks, Denise, Steve. Okay, so Larry, you can hear and they can see your screen. Everything is just just ready to go. How are you doing? Are you all ready to go?
I am all ready to go, and I got Leon covering, backing me up from the UK. Isn't that interesting? You're in Alabama. I'm in Atlanta. Leon is in UK, and
yeah. Well, actually, I'm not in Alabama. I'm in Mississippi. I'm in
you're Mississippi now. You're back in Mississippi. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're ready to go.
The town is called Buckatana, Mississippi. Pretty awesome, huh? Buckatana, Mississippi. All right, folks. We're going to start a little bit earlier tonight. Larry's raring to go. Are you guys raring to go? I guess that's the most important thing. Go ahead and type in yes if you're raring to go, and we'll start this thing and we'll get it on the road. Ian says yes. Hiram, welcome to the program. Claire, as always. We're all set and ready to go, Larry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get ready. I'm going to get you started. I will set the recording, and you just have yourself an awesome show, okay? And I'll be chatting with you a little bit later as soon as I roll into town, okay?
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I guess I'm just going to maybe chat with the people online until about 8 o'clock. Because just in case people show up right on the dot at 8 o'clock.
All right, Larry, if you'd like to do that, ladies and gentlemen, please say hi to Larry.
We've got a beautiful turnout today, and I think it's very great that everybody's actually attended today because Larry's got some real information that also is applicable worldwide. So everybody on this call today, I'd strongly advise you to get yourself sort of situated in a quiet environment. If you've got any mobile or cell phone devices, to switch them off and put them in the off position. And if you've got the radio or TV in the background, switch that off because you won't be needing that at all. And also to get yourself a pen and piece of paper because Larry's going to give you some information that is going to be so useful throughout this presentation. For those of you who just joined in, we haven't started yet. Larry's on the call with us right now, and he's gearing up. Are you, Larry?
Yes, I am.
Excellent session. Richard was actually with us a while ago, but again, he's left us in the reins. So I should take care of everything for you today. This is going to be a wonderful 1 hour with some jam-packed information. And guess what? I honestly think this is really, really great. As the actual title says, Rapid Debt Elimination Formula. Now, you're probably wondering what it is, and Larry's going to actually tell you all about it in about 3 minutes or so, and it's got lots of information that is useful throughout your life today, and it's really something that you won't need to be spending an extra penny or two, I must admit. So once again, if you've joined us, welcome along. There's quite a few people. If you're new to GoToMeeting, and I just wanted to point out a few things of the environment in front of you, to the left or to the right, there's a little panel with a little hand on it. This is the raise your hand to ask questions. Just to make sure that everybody knows what it is, can they depress the actual hand button to make sure it's actually functioning and you can hear us okay? I'll give you a little second or two. Looks like everybody's pressing away. Great. You can press the little hand button to make sure you know where it is. Located below, there is a chat box where you can ask any question throughout the presentation. I'll be actually taking notes and looking at some of the questions if we can get some Q&As during the course of the presentation. And most importantly, that you should ask some questions if you really unfamiliar with certain things that may come out through the show. So we've got 2 minutes left. Larry?
Yes, I am here.
You ready?
I am ready.
Ah, dear. Let's let everybody come into us. We'll give people some more time to get yourself situated. Once again, if you've got some writing instruments, use them wisely. They're very, very useful. And I do believe Larry's got some special things to give away. Larry's a great guy. I must admit. Oh dear. Let's have a look. Okay. Not to worry, regardless of what time it is, I suggest you stay here. The information, again, that Larry's going to give away, maybe it's an hour's worth of information. If it's late where you are in the world, I suggest you stay out. Because I don't know if Larry wants to repeat this again sometime. But it's most important that you do stay on the call. Yeah, until the very end. That's most importantly. Because there is something for everybody on this call today. Without further ado, I give to you Mr. Larry Adebesen. Take it away.
All right. Thank you very much, Leon. I appreciate that. And congratulations to every one of you on the webinar tonight. My name is Larry Adebesen, and I want to let you know that you are in for a very, very pleasant surprise tonight. Oh, well, I guess I don't know what time it is where you're calling, where you're watching, but you're in for a very, very pleasant and special surprise. And what we're going to be going over tonight is how to rapidly eliminate your debt. And before I go any further, can everybody see my screen clearly, Leon?
Once again, if everybody can see Larry's screen okay, raise your hand or say yes in the chat box for us. Crystal clear, someone says. Yes, 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 yes. Larry, you've got green light all the way. Let's go.
All right, excellent. So as you guys can see on the screen, it says Rapid Debt Elimination Formula. And it also says 100% of qualified participants reduce debt and taxes by $85,000 plus without spending any extra money. That is a bold statement. And I assure you, by the time this presentation is over, you will see exactly how this works and how this can work for you as well. So as you can see right here, it says special bonus valued at over $3,000 plus. And my recommendation to all of you listening is I want you to stay till the end of this presentation. I'm going to keep it as brief as possible. But I assure you, if you stay till the end of this presentation, I am going to be offering you a bonus that is valued at over $3,000. I don't know what type of webinars or what type of events you guys have attended in the past, but you're going to find out that what I'm talking about and what I'm going to be offering you today is pure dollars that you can actually put to use. So here you go. And you're looking at this pair of scissors, and I know you're probably wondering what this pair of scissors has to do with anything. You will find out in just a few moments what this pair of scissors has to do with. And by the way, this has nothing to do with you cutting your credit cards or anything like that. My name is Larry Adebesen, and as you can see from your screen right now, I have actually been in the financial services industry for over 20 years. During those years, I have assumed numerous roles, such as financial consultant, licensed insurance agent, mortgage reduction expert, debt elimination consultant. I also do personal performance coaching, and I do quite a lot of public speaking. As you can see right here, this is a picture of my beautiful wife and I, Denise. And on the right, that's a picture we took with the great Les Brown. I think we were in California, Los Angeles, California, a couple of years ago. Now, guys, I'm just sharing this with you just to give you a feel about who I am and how long I've been in the industry. For those of most of my clients know, I really don't care to share much about me with you because that's not why you're on this webinar. For those of you who want to find out more about me, you can check out my profile on LinkedIn. You can go to my personal website, or you can shoot me an email afterwards and I'll provide you with as much information as you'd like to know about me. But I want to make sure this event and this evening is about you, how I can bring value to you, and how you can walk away from this webinar knowing full well that debt does not have to control you. I want to empower you during this webinar. I want to let you know that for those of you who think you need to earn some extra money, or you're looking at your financial situation, looking at retirement, maybe you're even considering how you're going to fund your children's college education, and you don't know how you're going to do that, things might appear hopeless. But I assure you, by the end of this webinar, you will be encouraged. And you will be encouraged not because of necessarily what I am going to do, but you will be encouraged based on what I'm going to uncover for you. You're going to realize that there is a lot going for you that is good than you know. Also, I want you guys to know I'm also the author of numerous books. The 4 books you're looking at here, you can pick them up on Amazon if you choose to do so. Basically, most of the books you're looking at here, they have to do with my other passion, which is basically helping people identify and recognize their destiny, helping people master life, helping people to learn the success principles that we all need to live prosperous lives. Now, getting back to the subject of tonight, I want you guys to keep this in mind. Here is a quote by Will Rogers, and this quote goes something like this: "The problem with most people is not what they don't know, but what they know that isn't true." And I want you to keep that in mind, because you see, most people who have issues or financial problems, the reason why they have financial problems is not because they actually have financial problems. The reason why they have financial problems is because of their perception, is because of what they have been taught, is because of what they have been exposed to. And most of these things that we have been exposed to when it comes to money, finances, and so on and so forth, it's just not true. It's pure and simple misinformation. And as we proceed in this webinar, you're going to get a clear idea of what I mean by that. Now, before we go any further, let's clarify some definitions, because usually when I give these talks or these webinars, one of the things people say to me is this: "Larry, what do you mean by wealth with no debt? You can't become successful, especially in this country, without having debt." So I want to use this opportunity to clarify some definitions so that we're all on the same page. First of all, as you see right here, the first bullet says wealth enrichment. When we talk about wealth, we're talking about the ability to use everything that God has given you to advance your life. And when we're talking about wealth, I always like to tell people that there are 2 aspects to wealth the way I define it. There is what I refer to as the math of money. That's math as in mathematics, M-A-T-H, of money, and the language of money. Wealth enrichment basically is about teaching you, empowering you, and showing you how to use both the math of money and the language of money to enrich your life, to enrich your world. See, the challenge with most of us is that when we think about wealth, when we think about finances, we're always focusing on the math of money, on the dollars and cents. That is all fine and good. But what I like to share with my clients is the fact that everything you and I see, everything that shows up in our world, in dollars, in cents, is a result of the language of money. You see, money is tangible. Money is a medium of exchange. Money is visible. But you see, money is also an effect. But there is a cause. For every effect, there is a cause. The cause of the money that we have in our world or that we do not have in our world is a result of the language of money, the way we use our minds. So when we're talking about wealth enrichment here, I'm going to be sharing with you how to enrich your wealth financially, numerically, but at the same time, I'm going to show you how to enrich yourself emotionally. Because unless and until you are emotionally wealthy, you will have a tough time manifesting that wealth in the physical world. So now, we move to the next definition. When we're talking about debt elimination here, I'm not saying you shouldn't have any debts. That's not what this program is about. What this program is about you having debt and debt not having you. There is a huge difference. Let me tell you what the difference is. If you have debt, that means you have it. You have control over it. You can eliminate it whenever you choose to. You can get rid of it whenever you choose to. But if debt has you, you have no choice. You have no options. You have no control. That's the position most people find themselves in. And this program is about showing you how to be the one who has the debt, meaning you have control over it. You can eliminate it. I always like to use an example. I had a friend who once wanted to purchase a home. And at the advice of his, at the counsel of his tax advisor, he was told to go and finance and get a mortgage so that he could get some additional tax benefits. Well, this friend of mine happened to be extremely loaded. So when he went to the bank to do the paperwork, the bank manager started asking him, so how much do you have in your savings account? How much do you have in your IRA account? How much do you have in stocks, and so on and so forth? All of a sudden, my friend got upset. And he basically said, look, Mr. Manager, I don't appreciate these questions you're asking me. I don't have to answer these questions. I don't need your money. I'm here because my tax advisor asked me to take a loan so I could get some additional tax benefits. But if you're going to continue asking me these questions, I'm out of here. And guess what he did? The manager kept asking him the questions, and he walked out. And that's exactly the position of strength I want everyone listening to this webinar to be in. I want to show you how to be in a position of strength, how you can use debt, how you can use the bank's money to achieve your goals. The next bullet you see right there is system. I always like to use system as an acronym. And the acronym and system stands for save yourself time, energy, and money. And I assure you, by the time this webinar is over, you will be presented with a power-packed, proven system that will help you get from where you are to where you would like to be financially. So now, getting back to this pair of scissors. You know, the quotation I shared with you earlier on about Will Rogers said, the problem with most people is not what they don't know, but what they know that isn't true. And when it comes to finances, when it comes to getting out of debt rapidly, when it comes to increasing your retirement funds, when it comes to increasing your cash flow, it's all about your perception. And I'm going to use this to illustrate. I've got a simple question for you guys. As you can see, I have $400 bills on the screen right now. And I want to ask you a simple math question. You see on the screen it says 4 minus 1 equals X. Now, what in your opinion is the answer to 4 minus 1? May I ask you guys to respond by typing in your answer in the chat box. I'm going to give you a few seconds to do that. What is 4 minus 1? Gary says 3, Ian says 3, Lorenzo says 3, Barry from Canada says 3. Wow. Karen says 3. Everybody said 3. Now, Mickey says 3 or 3 $100 bills. Gary Robert says we all agree. David says minus 25%. All right, you guys are doing great. So, let's take a look. 4 minus 1 equals 3. Remember, I said the pair of scissors is all about perception. And when it comes to your money, it has a lot to do with how you perceive things, how you've been educated, how you've been trained. Then it actually has to do with the dollars and cents. So let's take a look. 4 minus 1, everybody said it's 3. So here we go. You're looking at a $100 bill that has 4 corners. And we all agree that 4 minus 1 equals 3. So if we were to take off one of those corners, we should have, based on the way most of you answered, we should have 3 corners left. But as you can see right here, when we remove one corner, instead of having 3, we now have 5 corners. So my question to you is this: which is right? Is it 3 or is it 5? And really, guys, the answer doesn't really matter. What's important for you to realize is that it's about your perception. And the reason why this is so important is that when it comes to your money, money is not math. Most of us have been trained by financial institutions to look at money as if money is math. And that's one of the ways they keep most people in bondage. Because as long as you see your money as being a result of a mathematical equation, you're going to make decisions, financial decisions, differently from those who see money as something that is fluid, as something that is dynamic energy. If you see money as math, then you want to apply the age-old principle of basically you need to, in order for you to achieve a good retirement, all you need to do is save X amount of dollars every single month for X number of years, and then at the end of X number of years, you will have Y dollar amount for retirement. Well, if you follow that approach, it's not going to work. And if things are not working for you, that's probably because you have been concentrating all of your energy on the math of money aspect. So we're going to move right along here. Now, here's the other interesting thing. You see, if you see 4 minus 1 as being 3, then all of a sudden you will think you've gotten a 25% pay cut. If you see it as 5, all of a sudden you've gotten a 25% increase. That is a 50% spread. And why is this important? Again, we go back to that Will Rogers quotation. The problem with most people is not what they do not know, but what they know that isn't true. 4 minus 1 is not necessarily always 3. All right. So about this program, as I said earlier on, this program is about money, and specifically it's about maximizing and optimizing your money. When I usually tell people that I can show them how to increase their wealth, how to get out of debt completely in 10 years or less, including their mortgages, without spending any extra money, they usually look at me as if I don't know what I'm talking about. But as you guys are going to find out tonight, I know a whole lot about what I'm talking about. And by the time the webinar the presentation is over, you will be better informed than a lot of people. This program is about money because money is crucial. We need money. Money is involved in almost everything we do, from before we were born up until the day we pass on and beyond. You need money to get from point A to point B. You need money to finance your business. You need money to be on this webinar tonight. So let's all be clear about it. Money is very important. Now, since money is very important, and since a lot of us spend a lot of our time and energy in the pursuit of earning more money, doesn't it make sense for us to learn how to maximize and optimize our money? And when I say maximize and optimize, let me tell you specifically what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is making the most of your money, making your money work harder for you than you work for it. And some of these things I'm sharing with you right now is just on a conceptual basis. We're going to look at some practical numbers that's going to bring all of this to light in a few minutes. As I mentioned, we're going to be talking about the math of money and the language of money. The math of money has to do with the 4 minus 1 equals 3 or 5. It has to do with what you have in your 401k. It has to do with what you have in your savings account, in your credit card balances, and so on and so forth. The language of money, on the other hand, has to do with the way we think when we have to make financial decisions. You know, some people, when they have to make a financial decision, when they have to write a check, they feel so much pain. When they have to use their credit card, they feel so much emotional pain. Most of us do not realize that the emotions that are associated with the way we transact business with money has a lot to do with the amount of money that is flowing or that is manifesting in our lives. And I'm going to get into that a little bit more as we proceed. Now, who is this program for? Basically, this program is for anyone who either is meeting their financial obligations on time, for people who wish to save money, for people who have any available reusable income, and for people who would like to be out of debt in 10 years or less. I put it to you another way. If you are paying taxes or paying any kind of interest, whether it's student loan, credit card interest, mortgage interest, automobile interest, this program is for you, because this program is going to show you how to get more of your money. Now, we're going to be going over 3 simple and proven steps. Everything I'm going to be going over with you today is contained in these 3 steps. Remember, I'm going to go back to that Will Rogers quotation over and over again, because it has everything to do with you, your money, and how to get more of it. As I mentioned, the problem with most people is not what they do not know, but what they know that isn't true. So if that quotation by Will Rogers is correct, the first step then is to identify the real problem, because most of us do not know what the problem is when it comes to our money. I am sure, as a matter of fact, let's do this. I'm going to ask you guys, what in your opinion do you think the main reason why people have financial problems? I'll take some answers in the chat box, please. What do you think, what in your opinion do you think is the reason why most people do not achieve their financial goals? Okay, let's see what we have here. All right, lack of education, scarcity mentality, too much expenses, discipline, wow. Okay, Ellie says mismanagement of their earnings, mismanagement. Gary says they overspend. Okay, you know, all of these answers, guys, pretty much they are correct answers. But as Will Rogers said, and again, guys, pardon me, but I have to keep going back there, because once you realize that the problem with most people is not what they don't know, but what they know that isn't true, then you will see where the problem really lies. See, everything you guys have mentioned right there is correct. And if you can fix those problems you guys have identified, you will go a long way. But I've got some news for you, as you will find out probably in the next 2 slides. The main reason why most people don't achieve their financial goals has to do with 3 great entities that you and I have to deal with on a regular basis. And it wouldn't matter what part of the world you're calling from. Everything I'm going over here will apply definitely to people living in the United States and Canada. But regardless of where you're living in the world, these same entities have an impact on your finances. And I'm going to tell you what that is in just one moment. But you see, the first step is we have to identify the problem, because until we identify the real problem, we can't solve the problem. We can't solve the problem we do not know exists. And that's, if you get anything from this webinar tonight, it will be the most important thing you probably get will be actually identifying the main reason, the main cause why you're probably not where you would like to be financially. And it is actually not the answers I got from most of you. So step 1 is identifying the real problem. Now, once we identify the real problem, finding the answer is very simple, because for most of us, once we know what the problem is, the solution is just a matter of flipping the problem over. So identifying the problem is step number 1. Step number 2 is discover the answer. Now, if you're like me, when somebody identifies a problem and they also produce the answer, I'm thinking, why do I need anything else? Once I have the answer and I have the solution? Well, the reason why there is a third step is because the answer does not always solve the problem. And let me illustrate. Suppose somebody were to say to you, Gary, and I'm just picking on Gary right here because he's been participating, answering my questions. Somebody were to say to you, Gary, you need a haircut. Uh-oh, and you go, uh-oh, I got a problem. I need a haircut. Somebody tells me I need a haircut. So you go to the mirror. You take a look at the mirror. And you say, you know what? I guess my brother or my friend or my buddy was right. Yeah, I need a haircut. So guess what has happened, Gary? You've identified the problem. You need a haircut. And then you came up with a solution. I need to go to the salon. I need to go to the barber to get a haircut, to get my hair done. So you've identified the problem, and you've also discovered the answer. So my question to you is this. Have you solved your problem? Yes or no? Guys, I want you to participate. Give me your feedback in the chat box. You've identified the problem. You also know the answer. Has that solved your problem? In the example we just used. No, 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 no. Charles says no. Kishore says no. Claire says not yet. Aram says no action is required. Okay, so the point I'm trying to make is this, guys. The answer doesn't always solve the problem. Knowing the answer doesn't solve the problem. So not only am I going to show you how to identify the problem today, not only am I going to give you the answer, I'm also going to show you how to execute the answer, because it's in the execution that you're going to get the freedom, that you're going to get the relief, that you're going to get the plan that will get you out of debt in 10 years or less. So, moving right along, I want to take a look at this chart. As I mentioned to you, we're going to identify the real problem, because once we identify the real problem, we can deal with some of those problems that you guys came up with. As you can see right here, the average American at age 65 would have accomplished the following. At age 65, the average American will have earned about $2 million. That's usually over a 30 to a 40-year period. But at the same time, that same average American at age 65 has only about $60,000 in assets after having worked for 30 to 40 years and after having earned over $2 million. And I know if you, based on the answers some of you gave earlier on, if you were to ask, what happened? How come the average American ends up with only about $60,000? And by the way, that also includes the equity they have in their mortgage. And most of you will say, well, it's because they didn't plan well, they mismanaged their money, and so on and so forth. And you know what? I will agree with you to a certain degree. But as you're going to find out in just one moment, that's not the main reason why most people do not make it financially. The main reason why most people do not make it financially is because of three entities that you and I have to deal with on a regular basis. And I'm going to make a very, very bold statement right now. Unless and until you learn how to master your relationship with these three financial entities that I'm going to introduce you to in a moment, you are going to have a tough time making it financially, because you're going to realize that you cannot earn enough money to get out of the misinformation and the bondage that these three entities represent in the lives of many Americans. So now let's take a look. Take a look at this chart right here. As I mentioned to you, the average American has assets of about $60,000 upon reaching age 65, which represents about 3% of their earnings. However, what most people do not realize, what most people are not aware of, is the fact that the average American spends about 34% in servicing debt. About 34% of the average American's income is used in paying off credit card debts, auto debts, and I'm making a reference to interest payments now. So we're talking about auto interest, mortgage interest, credit card interest, student loan interest, and so on and so forth. And I know some of you are looking at 34% and are saying, wow, that's a lot. Well, actually, that's lowballing it. As you're going to see in an example I'm going to show you later on, 34% is actually mild. For most of the people I work with, that figure is higher than that. And by the way, when I mentioned to you that there are three entities you and I need to deal with, interest payments represents the first entity that we all have to deal with. And that's represented by financial institutions. All interest payments end up in financial institutions, in banks, finance companies, and so on and so forth. If you look right below in the other chart that's represented by 40%, that's the amount of money the average American spends in taxes. Again, most people, when they talk about taxes, they're always concerned about income taxes. But you see, there's a whole lot more to taxes than income taxes. There is property taxes. There is sales taxes. There is the taxes you pay when you go to McDonald's, the taxes you pay when you go to the grocery store, and so on and so forth. And when you add all of that together, the average American is spending about 40% in taxes. As a matter of fact, the average American pays more in taxes than they spend on their mortgage, auto, groceries, and utilities. I hope this is making some sense so far, because if it is not, let me put this illustration to you another way. The average American spends 74% of their income in paying taxes and interest payments. So that leaves them with about 23% to take care of the rest of their lives. And I am telling you right now, as you're watching this webinar, you cannot earn your way out of 74% of your money going to places where you do not have control over it. Let me illustrate this to you another way. For every $1,000 you earn, $740 of it has a destination that you have no control over. So most people will say, well, you know, I need to earn more money. My problem is I'm not making enough money. Well, if you're earning $100,000 and you're only bringing home $23,000 based on this scenario here, if you were to get 100% pay raise and your income went to $200,000, you're still going to have the same problems because you will still be putting out 74%. As a matter of fact, you'll probably end up paying more because you'll be earning more. So now, guys, for the sake of time, I want to let you know what you're looking at right here is the main reason why most people have a difficult time making it financially. I'm sure some of you watching this webinar have had the same experience. You come back home at the beginning of the year so excited, your boss tells you you're getting a $10,000 raise. And you do the calculation, the math in your head. Hey, that's going to be an extra $800 a month, give or take. But now you get your paycheck and you're saying, what happened? Well, this is what happened. It's the 34% and the 40%. So what's the solution? I'm glad you asked. The solution is very obvious. The solution is find a bona fide way to reduce your taxes and your interest payments. And usually, most people at one point or another have tried to get on track financially. And usually what happens is when you go to a financial consultant, financial advisor, you name it, you tell them what your problem is. And one of the first things the financial advisor is going to do is, again, remember I told you that there is a difference between the math of money and the language of money? Well, most financial advisors have also been trained to work with you using the math of money. So basically what they're going to tell you is this, Mr. Jones, they're going to say, hey, you're not saving enough money. In order for us to help you get on track financially, you got to come up with an extra $100, $500, $1,000, you name it. And you're saying to yourself, wait a minute, I got only 23% to take care of my affairs. I don't know where I'm going to find any extra money for you. And if you're like most people, that's where your financial planning strategy ends. But the good news is this. You're on this webinar tonight. And I want to let you know that there is hope for you. Because unlike the average or traditional financial planner who is going to ask you to come up with more money for them to help you, you are actually listening to someone who is going to be able to help you to increase your retirement fund, help you increase your cash flow without you having to come up with any extra money. And you might be wondering, how are we able to do that? It is very obvious. If you look at this chart, now I don't know what you guys see, but remember I told you earlier on, it's all about perception. When I look at someone's financial situation like this, all I see is opportunity. Because I know beyond a shadow of doubt that interest payments are not mandatory. Interest payments are optional. You don't have to pay interest payments. You don't have to buy things on time. We have just been trained by financial institutions because that's how they make money. And how do we solve this problem? It's very simple. Our objective here is to help you reduce your interest payments by 12% within the next 60 days to 9 months, and to help you reduce your taxes by 10%. I hope you can take a look at what's going on right here. Just by helping you to reduce your interest payment and your taxes by a combined 22%, do you see what has now happened to your cash flow? You don't have to get a part-time job to bring more money home. You don't have to work a second job. You don't have to get a pay raise. You just need to learn to optimize and maximize what you're presently earning. And ultimately, our goal is to completely wipe out the interest payment so that all of that interest payment is now coming to you as opposed to going to the banks. And ultimately, with your taxes, our goal is to reduce it to about 15 to 20%. I'm sure you guys remember during the last election, there was all this big stuff, big deal about everybody trying to figure out how much Mitt Romney's tax return was and so on and so forth. But you guys realize that with all of the demand that was being made on Mitt Romney, the IRS never came out and said, Mitt Romney, you didn't pay enough money, or you paid too less taxes, or you owe us money. The IRS didn't say that. You know why? Because Mitt Romney knows the tax laws, and he has advisors who help him maximize his wealth. I have been told that his effective tax rate was actually about 14%, and that's perfectly okay because he's not doing anything illegal. What I want you guys to realize is this, though. The same thing that applied to Mitt Romney applies to you if you know what to do, and that's what I am going to help you with. Moving right along. Now, I told you that there are 3 institutions we need to learn how to deal with. The first institution are banks and financial institutions. The second one is represented by the Internal Revenue Service or the taxing entities in whatever country you're watching from. Well, the third entity actually has to do with the credit bureaus, because you see, it's the information that these credit bureaus have on us that help the banks and financial institutions determine how much they are going to charge us. And I'm going to be sharing with you later on how you can learn and actually beat the banks and financial institutions at their game. But before we get into that, I want to share with you briefly, I want to show you how banks earn money. Remember earlier on I was talking about the math of money and the language of money. Most of us have been taught to deal with money from the math of money perspective. But I want to show you right now why that is not the right way to go. If you want to maximize your money, if you want to optimize your money, one of the best places for you to look is at banks and financial institutions. How do they handle their money? How do they manage their money? How do they make their money grow? Take a look at this chart right here. Essentially, you go to the bank one day and you deposit $1,000, and they tell you they're going to give you a whopping 2% interest rate. And you look around and you say, well, you know what? Hey, that's about how much everybody else is paying anyway. But you know what the bank does? Once you deposit that $1,000, they'll take that $1,000 immediately and they will give it out as a loan to someone who wants to purchase a car at 5%. Well, guess what happens? When the deal is completed, the dealership gets the money, and guess what the dealership does with the money? The dealership takes the money right back to the bank. So the bank takes that money again, loans it out at 8% to someone who wants to buy a boat. Once the deal is completed, the boat dealer takes the money, deposits it in a bank again. The same thing goes, the bank loans it out to somebody who wants to buy a home at 5%, credit card 22%, office equipment 10%. You add all of that together, it comes to about a 50% rate of return. That's what we mean when we talk about the money multiplier effect. But check this out, the bank's giving you only 2%. One of the ways we help our clients maximize their wealth is showing them how to become their own bank, how to be the ones earning the interest payments. Moving right along, take a look at another example. And I'm kind of moving fast along here for the sake of time because I want to cover a lot of things with you guys, but I want to make sure you see some real life examples that you can use. Another example has to do with taxes, for example. 401k. A lot of people have money in their 401k, and you've been taught that by having a 401k, you actually get to defer your taxes, and hopefully when you retire, you'll be in a lower tax bracket. You know, there's a lot I can say about that, but for the sake of time, I'm just gonna keep this conversation strictly based on what we have on the screen. So let's take the example of an individual who contributes $5,000 a year for 30 years into their 401k. And at an 8% rate of return, at the end of 30 years, they have $611,729. So technically, as a result of saving $5,000 a year, they have deferred $1,250 a year for 30 years, which comes to, using a 25% tax bracket rate, that comes to $37,500. Okay, so here we go. That comes to $37,500. Now, when this individual reaches retirement age, they decide to start withdrawing their money out at 8% over a 20-year period. That comes to $54,388 per year before running out of money. So now, let's see what happens. That simply means they deferred $37,500 over a 30-year period. But they ended up paying taxes to Uncle Sam worth $13,597 a year for 20 years. So they deferred $37,000 because they were putting money in their 401k accounts and they didn't have to pay taxes on it. But when it was time for them to withdraw the money, they're going to end up paying $13,597 a year for 20 years, which comes to a total of $271,000. So now let's take a look at what that translates to. That translates to a 625.17 rate of return that the IRS earned on this particular individual. So the next time someone tells you that the best place to put your money is in a 401k plan, you want to make sure that you not only concentrate on the deferral aspect of it, but you got to go a step further. You got to pay attention to what the cost is eventually going to be, just in case you do not know the history of 401k plans. Remember, several years ago, most employees used to have a pension. The 401k plan was a way to absorb corporations from having to be responsible for paying the pension that employees need upon retirement. So basically, the whole idea behind the 401k was a way to transfer the retirement responsibility away from corporations and back to the individuals. And in the process of that, the IRS gets a huge rate of return. Again, I know I'm going over this really quick. For those of you who would like me to go into more specific details with you, I will be very happy to do that. But I just want to let you know right now, just based on what we've seen so far, the reason why most people do not reach their financial goals is not because of what they do not know, but it's because of what we know that isn't true. I have given you a couple of examples right here. One of them has to do with the way we finance things. The other one has to do with what we have been taught about our 401k plans. What most people do not realize is that there are many, many other vehicles you can use to build retirement income that grows your money on a tax-deferred basis without you having to pay this astronomical rate of return to the IRS when it's time for you to start receiving your money. Again, the problem with most people is not what they do not know, but what they know that isn't true. I've said all that. Now, I'm going to use the next few minutes to illustrate to you exactly how this works. And the way I'm going to do this, guys, is I'm going to present you with a case study that we use in our organization, the organization that I belong to. And essentially, I'm going to share with you the story of Mark and Joyce. By the way, the picture you see on the left is not the picture of Mark and Joyce, so I'm just using that as for illustration purposes. But essentially, what we do with most of our clients is we basically have them complete what you might call a questionnaire, because that gives us an idea of where their money is going and what we can do to help them. In Mark and Joyce's situation, just to kind of give you a quick overview, this is what their financial situation looked like. They had the following accounts. Visa, they were paying $55 a month, and they had a 12% rate of return. They had 9 payments left, and their remaining balance was $460, but the remaining debt is $482.90, and I'm going to come back to that later on. They have a dental bill, $200 every month, 0% rate of return. They have 13 payments left, and remaining balance $24.20. And because there's no interest payment, their real debt is the same. And then, of course, they have Discover Furniture, auto, mortgage, and so on and so forth. So if you add all their monthly expenses together, it comes to $2,177. Now, when you come over to the real debt, remaining debt right here, remaining debt comes to $179,352.71. But if you look on this right column, it says real debt, $374,346.04. Now, my question to you is this, guys. What do you think is the difference between the remaining debt and the real debt? What they really owe is $179,000, but they're going to end up paying $374,000. What's the difference? As you can see right here, it's the interest. So you remember in the other example, I told you that the average American spends about 34% in servicing debt. Take a look at the situation. Which is greater, 179 or 194? Yes, you answered right. The answer is 194. So in Mark and Joyce's situation, they're going to end up paying more in interest than they actually owe. And I know some of you are saying, wow, that's a lot. Well, I got to say this to you. A lot of Americans are in the same boat. How would I know? I know because I deal with them all the time. And this is what a lot of people's situation look like. As a matter of fact, a lot of situations are worse than this, because Mark and Joyce only have 3 accounts that they are paying double-digit interest rates on. A lot of people have many, many, many more accounts that they are paying double-digit rates of return on. So moving right along, what are we able to do looking at a situation like this? Basically, if you look at Mark and Joyce's situation, based on what they have, actually, let me see if I can go back here. As you can see, to pay off their mortgage, it's going to take them 354 months. That's almost 30 years, a little over 29 years. So let's move on. What you see right here is another way of illustrating how long it's going to take Mark and Joyce to get out of debt based on what they're doing. It will take them 29.52 years to get out of debt. Now, let's take a look at this scenario here. Let's see what we were able to do for Mark and Joyce. And again, guys, I know I'm going fast. If for some reason you will need some additional clarification, you can just put that in the chat box, and I will make sure that I provide you with the necessary information that will break this down for you further. But I just want to use this to illustrate to you. So basically, if you look right here, this is what Mark and Joyce are doing. And they're scheduled to be out of debt in 29.52 years based on the plan they're on. The original debt is $179,000. Total payments will be $374. interest payments will be $194,000. Now, this is what I want you to pay attention to. As a result of working with Mark and Joyce, we were able to reduce the number of years it will take them to get out of debt from 29.52 years to 9.26 years. And by the way, that includes their mortgage. So let me repeat that. Mark and Joyce are on track to be out of debt in 29.52 years. As a result of working with us, we were able to show them how they will be able to get out of debt in 9.26 years without spending any extra money. And you're probably saying to yourself, how are we able to do that? It is very simple. You already know how. I told you. I gave you the answer. Step one is identifying the problem. The problem is not that we don't earn enough money. The problem is the fact that most of our money is going into the wrong hands. Interest payments, taxes. So what we did for Mark and Joyce is simple. We basically applied what we call our power down strategy to reduce Mark and Joyce's interest payments. So if you look on what we call the accelerated debt right here, the original debt is still the same, $179,000. But now we reduce the interest payments down to $240,000. How are we able to do that? We were able to do that by applying some of our proprietary strategies to help them reduce their taxes and their interest payments. So as a result of that, instead of Mark and Joyce having to pay $194,000 in total interest payment, we reduced it to $61,000, which came to a savings of $133,000 and change. Well, guys, I know some of you have probably seen this. The majority of you have probably not yet seen it, but I'm going to show you. Not only, remember I told you with this plan, our goal is to help you maximize and optimize your wealth. But you see, our strategy is more than just helping you get out of debt. It's also helping you increase your retirement account. You see, this is what is so powerful. Doing what Mark and Joyce were doing, it would have taken them 29.52 years to get out of debt. And at that point, they will have $0 saved. By using our own strategy, in the same 29.52 years that it would have taken Mark and Joyce to get out of debt and have a zero balance, by using our strategy, Mark and Joyce will now end up with $913,738.94 in their savings account. Is that powerful or what? I need some feedback. I need you guys to give me some feedback. Is this making any sense so far? Are you guys seeing this? Remember, Mark and Joyce did not have to spend one extra penny. Lorenzo says powerful. Hiram says awesome. Bill says very powerful. Danielle says wow. Yes, very powerful. Again, guys, there is nothing mystical or magical about this. It's just simply based on understanding how money works. Is realizing that the problem with most people is not what they do not know, but what they know that isn't true. And that's essentially what we've illustrated right here. So technically speaking, look at right here, it tells you if you were to divide the $913,000 by the 29.5 years it would have taken Mark and Joyce to get out of debt, that translates to a savings of about $30,000 a year or $2,500 a month. Oh, and by the way, one thing I forgot to mention to you guys is this. By the way, Mark and Joyce earn $7,100 a month before taxes. So when you take that in consideration, this illustration now becomes even more powerful. Can you imagine that someone earning $7,100 before taxes could end up saving an equivalent of $2,500? So moving right along. This is actually, you know what, this is another example. When we do our analysis, one of the things we show our clients how to do is how to complete do a spending plan. And the spending plan is basically designed to help them save money, to help them recover money that they are wasting based on using some of the strategies we share with them. And the average family usually ends up with a savings of anywhere from about $300 to about $600 a month. The average is actually $312. In Mark and Joyce's situation, when they did the savings planner, they were able to come up with an extra $300 savings. And by applying that extra $300 savings to their plan, look at what we were able to do for them. Instead of getting out of debt in the same, I think this is the 29.52 years, which is what it was before, we were able to get them down out of debt in 7.75 years. Again, how did we do it? We reduced the interest payment. Because since they had the extra $300 to invest, we applied it to reducing the interest payments they are making. And as a result of that, instead of having $900,000 in the same amount of time, it would have taken them to get out of debt from the prior example. Now they're going to end up with $1.1 million in savings. Again, what did we do? We just basically show them how to reduce their taxes and reduce their interest payments. I hope this is making sense to you guys. Now, we're wrapping it up right now. Again, if you guys have any questions or you need any additional clarification, I have a ton of resources that will break this down for you even further, for those of you who choose to go that route. But usually when I get to this point, one of the things that most people usually say is once they see the story of Mark and Joyce, immediately most people want to produce similar results. And what I promised Rich when I spoke to him was I was going to extend everyone on this call a special bonus. Remember at the beginning of the webinar, I told you that there is a bonus that is going to be available to you at the end of this presentation. We're getting ready to wrap things up now. And what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to go to the site, to the URL that you see on this page. By the way, Leon, can you put that link in the chat box, please?
Yes.
I want you guys to go now. Okay, thank you. I want you guys to go now and download that free questionnaire, that free report. And the first 10 people to complete that report and send it back to me will receive their own personalized financial analysis. Essentially, what that analysis is going to show you is going to give you a report similar to what I just did for Mark and Joyce. And it's not limited to 10 people because we're trying to play this scarcity game. It's simply because this stuff takes time, and I can only work with about 10 people at a time. Every now and then, I have some other members of my team that do help me with this report. But for right now, the maximum amount of reports I will be able to get out to you will be 10. I can get that out within the next, today's Wednesday. Depending on how soon I get your report, your questionnaire back, I can get that back to you probably within a week from the time you complete it. For those of you who are not among the first 10, if you still send it in, I will eventually get it to you. I just can't promise that you will get it within the next week. That was the arrangement I had with Rich. So I want you guys to go and download that questionnaire, complete it. And when you get that questionnaire, first of all, you're going to see how much of your income is going towards interest payments, how much of your income is going toward taxes, and how much of that you can recover back. Not only that, you're also going to know specifically when you are going to be completely out of debt, including your mortgage, without spending any extra money. And guys, I could go on and on and on and on and on. I get so excited when I talk about this stuff because I'm telling you guys, a lot of you are out there, you're concerned about your finances, you're concerned about your retirement, you're concerned about your debt, you think you got to earn more money, you think you got to start another business, and I don't have any problems with that. All those things are good, but I'm telling you, you got something already working for you. All you need to do is learn how to maximize your income. You now know what the problem is. Let's face it, it's about 74% of your income has a destination of its own and you have no control over it. You cannot earn your way out of that. You have to learn how to reduce those ratios. Once you learn how to reduce those percentages, then you can go out and start your own business, get a part-time job, work more hours, and you will get more of that benefit. Now, for those of you who are not going to be among the 10 to receive that free report, there's something else I want to share with you. I want to introduce you now to a special program I've put together to further educate you, those of you who would like to study with me and learn the intricacies of how some of the things I share with you work, because you see, there's not much I can go over in an hour. I just basically wanted to give you an overview of what my program is about and also to give you a real case study, because you know, nothing is more compelling as seeing your own situation on paper. Because I will tell you this, if you're like most of the people I work with, you are going to be so excited. You are going to be so inspired and encouraged when you see your report, because there is a lot more good going on in your finances. We have just been blindfolded by it, by the financial institutions, because they don't want us to see what's going on. And that's what that report is going to show you. So for those of you who would like to study with me, I'd like to introduce you now to my Wealth with No Debt Basic Program. And this program is made up of 12 high-definition ready DVDs. And the topics in this program are as follows. First of all is an overview, just to give you an overview of what you're going to learn. Video number 2 talks about the art and science of wealth. You know, wealth is not only an art. There's also a science to it. And in this video, I go over the art and science of wealth creation. And when I'm talking about wealth, yes, even though we're talking about money here, but these same ideas and principles will apply to wealth in all areas. If it's emotional health, if it's physical, rather if it's emotional wealth you're looking for, or physical wealth you're looking for, it will apply to it. These are universal principles. In video 3, we're going to talk about the mental and emotional causes of financial problems. You see, earlier on I told you about the fact that the problem is taxes and interest payments. See, that's the math of money problem. But what is the cause? Why do we have problems when it comes to taxes and interest payments? Well, I'm here to tell you guys, there is a reason for it. And the reason is emotional and it's mental, because everything that shows up in our world is an effect. But for every effect, there are causes. And if money is not flowing properly in your world, there is a mental and emotional cause. In this video, I go over the mental and emotional causes, and I show you exactly what you need to do to solve that. Then in video number 4, we talk about the math of money problem. You see, we start with the cause, and then we come with the effects. Then in video number 5, we go over how banks earn money. I gave you a brief overview in the previous example. In this particular video number 5, I am going to show you how banks earn money and some of the additional things that you can do, you can begin using to earn money the way banks earn money. I'm going to share with you the velocity of money and the money multiplier concept. The way to grow your wealth is not by keeping it in a savings account or bank account or 401k for 30 years sitting there doing nothing. I am going to show you how you can make $1 do $2 work. Remember with the bank example, the bank used the same dollar about 5 or 6 times. Do you know that the Federal Reserve Bank allow banks and financial institutions to turn every dollar around about 6 to 8 times? Well, I don't know if I can do the same for you, but I definitely can show you how to make $1 do more than $1's work. And you're going to learn that there. In video number 6, we're going to talk about how the IRS makes money on your 401k plan. We're going to go into a little bit more detail about tax deferral and why it's not in your best interest. And not only that, I'm going to show you for every single problem I identify, I am going to show you the answer. And I am going to also show you how to execute the answer. In video 7, I'm actually going to show you how to start using the bank's money. This is amazing. As a matter of fact, I got my buddy Leon from London. He was when he was reviewing this program with me. He says to me, he says, Larry, I don't live in the United States, but I think I didn't realize when you mentioned the difference between the due date and when I mentioned one of the things you're going to learn in this video is I'm going to tell you the difference between the closing date and the due date of all your credit cards. Leon said to me he did not realize that there was a difference between the closing date and the due date and how you can manipulate those dates in such a way that it will allow you to now start using the bank's money instead of the bank using your money all the time. In video number 8, I go over how to deal with pre-tax investment plans, such as 401ks, 403bs, SCP plans, and so on and so forth. In video number 9, I go over special tax saving strategies for online business owners. I show you, I promise you guys, as you're going to see on the next slide, one of the benefits you're going to get from this program is that not only are you going to learn how to maximize your money, but the tax saving strategies you're going to learn will work for you for the rest of your life. As a matter of fact, I can pretty much assure you that if you apply some of these tax saving strategies I'm going to share with you, it could be worth an additional $3,000 in income into your household every year for the rest of your life. That is what's so powerful about these strategies. Once you understand them and you put them to use, they are going to be there for you for as long as you apply them. Video number 10, we go over the solution. So we've identified the problem, we know what the solution is, we know what the answer is. How do we implement it? I go over the solution with you in a summarized version, bringing everything together. Then in video number 11, it's called putting your own plan together. What do you need to do right now to put your own plan together? How do you need to get your own plan of action in place so that you will know beyond a shadow of doubt how long it's going to take you to be completely out of debt, including your mortgage, without having to spend any extra money? We go over the summary of the language of money and the math of money again. And then, of course, in video number 12, we summarize everything for you. I tell you guys, for those of you who are going to get this program, you are going to love it. How do I know that? I know that because of the time, the effort, the energy, and the information it contains. This program will put money in your pocket. As a matter of fact, I'm going to the next page. Before I go over what you're looking at right now, I am going to make you a guarantee. If you get this program and this program does not show you how you can save or reduce your debt by $103,000 plus, I will refund your investment in this program. If you purchase this program and you put to practice what we recommend, and by the way, we're going to help you put it together. So this is not something you're going to do on your own. If after getting your own personalized financial analysis, this program does not save you or reduce your debt by $103,000 plus, you keep the program and you will get your investment back. So what does this program contain? As you can see right there, it says lessons 1 through 12, Wealth with No Debt. And it says right here $3,000 per annum. If you do nothing else, if all you do is just apply the tax saving strategies, you will bring in an extra $3,000 plus in income per year, regardless of whatever else you do. In addition to that, you will also get your own personalized debt elimination plan, which includes your own personalized wealth enrichment and debt elimination plan with access to your own online account valued at over $400 a year. If you want me to provide you with information as to how much it will cost you to get that online access, I will provide it for you. And by the way, this personalized proposal I'm going to be making available to you, there are companies that charge close to $3,000 just to present you with your savings. You are going to be receiving this as a bonus for getting the Wealth with No Debt Basic Program. Bonus number 2, creation on purpose. This is a 2-part video that shows you how to deliberately, scientifically, and systematically change your money language. You are not going to be receiving bonus 2 until you've been in the program for 30 days. And the reason for that is this. I am one of those people, I don't like bombarding people with information. I want you to do one thing at a time. It's probably going to take you about a couple of weeks to go through the basic program. I want you to get that in your system before providing you with the additional information. And I know you're probably wondering, how much is this program going to cost you? I'm going to get straight to the point because I shoot straight. This is not going to be one of those long and drawn out scenarios. To get the basic Wealth with No Debt program, today is going to be $97. And I know you're probably wondering, why is he charging only $97? And I'm going to answer that question for you. Really, I could charge a whole lot more than $97 based on the value. But the reason why I'm charging $97 is very simple. My objective, my goal is to help people get out of debt. So I see no reason why I need to have people incur additional debt in order for them to try to get out of debt. As a matter of fact, if it were really left up to me, I wouldn't charge anything for this program. But you know, I've been around long enough to know that if you do that, people are not going to get any value out of it. So again, the program is $97. I'm going to provide you with a link where you can go and get immediate access to the program right now. And I am going to provide you with an additional added bonus. You know, I've purchased many programs in my lifetime. And one of the challenges I always have is that, you know, you get all these programs right there and you have questions, you want to talk to somebody, you got to deal with them through email, you can't even call them on the phone. So what I've decided to do is this, since that never gelled with me, I really never liked that. So what I've decided to do is this. For those of you who purchase this program today, and I mean today, I will offer you a 20-minute one-on-one consultation with me. Now, some of you are probably saying, 20 minutes, it's that all? I can pretty much assure you, in 20 minutes, I'll get almost all of your questions answered, because I'm not going to get on the phone with you unless and until you complete a questionnaire that tells me what you are looking to do. And by me having access to that questionnaire, I will be able to answer your most pressing questions in about 20 minutes. If you need more than that, then we'll talk about that. But I can assure you, for those of you who decide to take the program today, I will be offering you a 20-minute one-on-one consultation with me. And again, it's going to be first come, first serve, because of time. I can only work with probably no more than 10 people at one time. So, and when I say at one time, I'm talking about if I have to do it one-on-one. So eventually, if you get the program, I will get with you. But the sooner you let me know you want to take advantage of that one-on-one, the sooner I will be able to get with you. So that concludes the program. I hope you guys have benefited from this. I hope it has been helpful to you, as I have enjoyed sharing these ideas with you.
Okay, I think we're going to just give it a close here on that one. I want to thank everybody who's attended today. It was a pleasure and a great honor to be here and be part of working with Larry Adamson. Once again, put your questions and answers in here and make sure you check out this program. It's wonderful indeed. Larry, close off.
All right, again, guys, I want to, first of all, again, congratulate you for attending the session. I want to let you know I value your time. And I really, really appreciate the opportunity you have given me to share with you some of my knowledge. And I promise you, if you will put this program to work, it will make a huge difference. And if you don't get anything from today's webinar, I want you to get this at the very deepest level of your being. Your financial situation is not as bad as you think it is. It is better than you think it is. You just need to have some information. You need to understand that things are not always what they appear to be. The reason why things are probably not going well for you is because the majority of your money is going into the wrong hands. And if you do nothing else but learn how to bring some of that money home, you will be better off for it. So again, I want to thank you guys. I appreciate you. I'm here for you. You need me, send me an email, and I'll make myself available for you as much as I can. I appreciate you guys very much again. Thank you very much. And again, I know Rich is not here, but I want to thank you again, Rich, for giving me the opportunity to share this information with some of your friends. And Leon, I want to thank you too very much from London. And if my buddy Phil from Croatia is on the line, I want to thank you too, Phil. These are all the individuals that have helped make this happen. So I appreciate you guys, and have a wonderful evening.